look at that Bitcoin to gold ratio, it's been up over time. It's starting to tick back down. It's bounced. I think it's going to back down again because I see gold as it's outperforming Bitcoin on the 12-month basis. And if I'm right about this correction in the equity market, which is my base case, that's going to drag down all risk assets. Cryptos are some of the riskiest assets. It's just Bitcoin's the least risky.
According to Bloomberg's senior commodities specialist Mike McGlone, some asset classes might perform better than others as the depression unfolds, as seasoned investors and financial experts all around increasingly agree that the United States is heading toward a recession. In his interview, McGlone mentioned that I think it's important to note that virtually all risk assets have been up this year. Bitcoin is one of the riskiest, and some people have called it the fastest horse in the race. It's up the most, but it looks like it ran into a wall resistance around $30,000. On the other hand, McGlone's analyzed gold could be in a more favorable position in comparison to the flagship cryptocurrency Bitcoin during this recession, particularly if it involves a stock market slump. It's the higher correlation to the stock market and risk assets with gold that we see placing Bitcoin in a vulnerable position at the start of May, he added. During periods of economic uncertainty or market volatility, investors may seek alternative assets like Bitcoin as a hedge against traditional markets. As a result, both stocks and Bitcoin may experience price changes in response to broader market trends. When investor sentiment is more risk-on, there may be increased interest in riskier assets like Bitcoin, leading to potential price movements in the cryptocurrency. Recession alerts why gold could outshine Bitcoin in a downturn. As for Bitcoin, the commodities expert has voiced his opinion. McGlone added, "This is the first recession for most crypto traders. The Fed wants you to lose money. This is the case where we are right now. The Fed wants the stock market to go down. That's my interpretation. We're going to see FOMO into gold. We're going to see a bear market to resume in cryptos. This was just the bounce." McGlone believes that the bear markets are not yet over, and as a result, traders will likely shift their focus to gold, a traditional safe haven asset that tends to appreciate in value during economic downturns. Before proceeding further in this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button below for more recent market updates.
The end of the year is going to really depend. Everything will tilt if we get this rollover in the stock market. The biggest surprise for me will be with that. If that doesn't happen, then I have to reassess a lot of my views. So if the stock market, let's put it this way, my base case is going to 3,000. Bitcoin's going to go down. I don't know how far. It might make a new low. Cryptos will go down real hard. And we're going to purge some of these 24,000 cryptos and get rid of some. They're just silly. But Bitcoin and Ethereum will come out ahead. So my base case is that's going to happen. S&P 500 goes to 3,000. Yields drop a lot, maybe by the end of this year, but next year will be more enduring. It'll just continue that. And I think we're supposed to get one of those periods like we did. I remember from 2002 to like 3 and 1 and 4. It took forever you have to get through this enduring period of a severe, I would say, purge of assets. To me, that's my base case. The biggest surprise will be if we don't go down the stock market. I don't fully expect Bitcoin to outperform that case. So there's kind of a win-win.
Yeah.
But that would be kind of strange, I think. And historically, it will prove that, so the rules and laws of liquidity and pumps and dumps and cycles in markets may no longer apply. I'd be kind of concerned about that.
Yeah.
So I got to take it case by a day at a time basis. And base case to me is pretty significant recession. Here's how I'll end with. The market's basically already priced for a soft landing. David Alteg even said that when I spoke to him. It's priced in. So I look at it simplistically as an option market person when I used to be on phones with customers. And when we went off phones, creating strategies, the value in a strategy is to go counter to that. Because you can structure an option position where you can make 10x if what's already priced in doesn't happen. So that's why I'm kind of leaning. I'm sticking with that in my my outlooks, and I'm looking for key leading. Always looking for indicators. So what happened last week? Copper breaking down is kind of going the way I was expecting. Bitcoin and Ethereum peaking. Bitcoin around 30,000. Ethereum around 2,000 is going that way. 10-year note yield dropping. It could not stay above 4% very long. Dropping down. Gold at the end of the quarter settle its highest level ever. That was Q1. At the end of the month, if we're going to settle here, it's be the highest month ever. And it's in the maximum disdain period. Like you said, cup and handle. It's been frustrating everybody. I see I just remember in the trading biz when you'd see a market that was offered at 2 and so many people, hey, I got 1,000 offered at 2, and finally it flips 2 bid. Before you know it goes 3 bid. That's what I think is going to happen to gold. I think it's going to do very much similar to what he did in 2007 and 8 was bumping up around 800, and finally before you knew it, it was 1900. Just took a couple of years. That to me is the fundamental and technical situation for gold. The deepest pockets on the planet are buying gold, central banks. Uh, don't want to fade them. One thing that's also notable about gold um, is gold ETF holdings have not picked up much. It's actually unchanged in the year, yet gold's up 10% on a 12-month basis. And these ETF holdings haven't moved. So I think it's not even retail in the spaceship. I think they're going to realize this is an asset that over time versus a dollar price always go up, always goes up versus a basket of fiat currencies, gold price always goes up and it only goes down after it goes up a lot. It's just the way it works because you just can't, it's that unique. The thing is, in the last many, I'd say 5, 10 years, it's had decent competition from Bitcoin. So the way I look at gold is I fully expect gold to pop to 3,000 at some point. I don't know when I try to be careful. An equivalent rally that it did during starting from 7 to 11 or so was to get towards 5,000. I don't see what stops that. That's in US dollars. Now it's made highs in the euro, it made high in the yen. But I don't see it. To me, it's imprudent to hold gold anymore without some Bitcoin in that space. Well, there's a problem with silver. If we get towards recession, it's going to follow copper. That's the key thing. Gold's been appreciating versus silver over time, except for maybe 10-year increments. And central banks are buying gold, not silver. So I just don't want to mess with that trend. So the gold to me is one of the most enduring bull markets I see ready to continue breaking out. And I see things like copper continue to drop. And it's all going to be predicated. The key trigger, I'll end with this, for gold to break out is when people start realizing they're not going to get that 9 to 10% annualized return they got in the S&P 500 index fund they got the last 10 years. When they start realizing, well, maybe I'll give back more of that. Maybe we're going to severe deflation. And I don't see gold to me as a top potential performer to do what it did from '07 to 11.
De-dollarization, do all roads eventually lead to Bitcoin? The US dollar's reign as the reserve currency of the world could be coming to an end. CryptoSlate's latest market report explores the de-dollarization of the world to find what role will Bitcoin play in the global economy. While some proponents of Bitcoin argue that it can serve as a hedge against fiat currency devaluation, there are chances that Bitcoin will replace US dollar in future. During periods of de-dollarization, where countries or entities seek to diversify away from the US dollar, some may turn to gold as an alternative. The increased demand for gold can drive its price higher. China expands de-dollarization push as global central banks use record amount of yuan.
Measure the dollar versus a basket of fiat currencies, just to use the New York Fed dollar trade weighted dollar index. The only time the dollar versus a basket of fiat currencies goes down is after it goes up a lot. And we went up a lot recently. It just backs up and then goes back to trend. There's no better example of a fiat currency on the planet. Maybe Swiss in the short term, but if the U.S. unveils its veil of protection of Europe, Russian tanks can go right down to Switzerland. I mean, it's that significant for the dollar. And that's macro, the deepest markets in the world. I mean, this discourse we're having about the debt ceiling, it's horrible, but it shows our strength. It just, we'll beat the shit out of each other. I'm sorry, I got to watch that. We'll beat ourselves up. And it just shows how strong we are once we come to the right conclusion, as Churchill says. You're not going to see that in China. It's whatever Mr. Z says. But I like to use one specific example for the dollar that has really kept me bullish the last few years, and that's cryptos. The most widely traded cryptos are dollar tokens that happen
Yeah, stable coins.
completely organically. Yeah, to me, crypto dollars, I call them, because they're just like euro dollars. And I remember having this debate with not a conversation with our Audrey Chill Freeman, who's our equity strategist, FX strategist, and pointing this out. And we came around that, well, that's a significant organic sign on a global basis that there's no better base currency on the planet, still isn't, than the dollar. Now, we're going to see some of this trading in other currencies. We should see that certainly between, let's say, the yuan and the ruble. And I like to say, well, good luck with that one. Good. Try it all you want. And then where are all those reserves going to end up? Obviously, some form of physical assets like gold, which is what they're doing. And eventually, as Saifedean Ahmed suggests, maybe Bitcoin. Now, there's still only one major currency, and it's going to depend on what works out with this war and everything. But and there's one alternative. It's gold, but it's also potentially Bitcoin. So that's why long term I have to, I don't know exactly what's going to happen with the dollar, but I think I do one thing I want to point out. When people point out at the demise of and how the dollar's declined 97% over a certain period, something like that, they always forget to include that interest. Right now, I'm getting
I
5% of my T-bills,
Yeah, I'm with you on this.
and I'm not getting that with Bitcoin, and I'm not getting that with gold. But it's just funny how people bend the narrative to fit their views. And so that 5% you're getting that UST bill is pretty darn good compared to um, gold and even the stock market, I think, right now. So I'm not worried about. To me, it's the bigger picture, technology and macro, and what replaces it. And I know you've studied the lessons of history. Um, and I look like, we've had this discussion before. I look at, you mentioned the Roman Empire in 1,000 years. I'm like, okay, US, maybe we're, what, 300 years in, give us another 700 years. I just can't wait to
Yeah.
hopefully live long enough to see how this period works out with these two autocratic leaders.
Gold's disparity to beat Bitcoin is regaining fuel, said Bloomberg's Mike McGlone. Based on Bloomberg's analysis, there is a correlation between the S&P 500's peak and trough, its 100-week moving average, and the Bitcoin/gold ratio. Specifically, when the S&P 500 has been trading above its 100-week moving average, the Bitcoin/gold ratio has tended to be relatively high, indicating that Bitcoin is outperforming gold. McGlone suggests that the Bitcoin rollover risks lean toward deflation, further emphasizing the importance of this development. Do you agree with Mike McGlone's perspective about Bitcoin and gold performance? Will Bitcoin outperform gold? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. If you found this information helpful, then like this video and subscribe to our channel. We will bring you more updates in the future.